Welcome to the Sentimental Twist,
where two generations share one love for meaningful spaces and gracious hospitality.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Melissa.
Let's gather around the table and talk home, hosting, and all things sentimental.
Yay! Welcome, everybody.
We're already in episode 3.
Yes. Can you believe it?
Time flies.
I'm so excited. We're going to carry everybody through till the end of December.
Yeah.
We're going to have some great stuff to share. I am Melissa. Welcome to episode 3 of season 2. You can find me on Home with a Twist on Instagram, homewithatwist.com on my website, and then Home with a Twist on YouTube.
And I'm Brittany, and I'm at Brittany Shepherd on Instagram, thesentimentaldecorator.com, and Brittany Shepherd TSD on YouTube.
Okay, so we've got some fun things to talk about today. Do you think I look like Maleficent?
I love a popped collar though now.
Okay, all right. You don't think I look too...
Mine would pop a little more.
Yeah, this is just a great shirt for a pop collar, but I'm thinking I might look a little Maleficent-y. No?
You don't.
Okay, all right. If anybody's wondering who Maleficent is, she was the witch on Snow White.
Snow White. You did not.
And you know what? That was the very first princess movie that Phoebe saw when she was little.
Uh-huh.
And it scared her.
Yeah, I could see that.
That witch's googly eyes. I don't think it was the best introduction to Disney princesses, because after that she kept waking up in the middle of the night and telling me there was a witch in her room.
Oh yeah.
So after about a week, I thought, you know what, so I just put a bottle of water in a spray bottle, and then I labeled it witch spray, and I put it in her room, and the witches went away. I just said, honey, if a witch comes in your room in the middle of the night, just use this to spray them and they'll go away. And then she never woke me up again.
How appropriate is this, since this is airing on October 23rd, so we're in the spooky season. So talking about the villains, Ursula's a scary villain.
Yeah, she was pretty scary too. She was pretty mean. Mm-hmm. But anywho, okay, we digress. We're going to talk about harvesting memories. We talk a lot about little rituals that make our home feel like ours, those small, ordinary things that somehow become our legacy. So today's question is, what's one tradition that you want to pass down?
That's a great question.
Yeah, and this is also a really good listener submission question. So if there's traditions you want to pass down, they're really important to you, or just something fun that you want us to know about, send us an email at thesentimentaltwistpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
Okay, so Brittany, what would be a tradition that you would want to pass down?
Well, I've kind of thought about 2, and I know the question is what's one, but one is an old tradition and one is a new tradition. So I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about both of those.
Okay.
So the old one is Christmas breakfast casserole, Christmas Day breakfast casserole. Mama always did it. I started doing it when I was about 10 or 12. I do it now when I have Christmas with my brother's family. And so in the near future, because my nephew is about to be 8, want to start teaching them the breakfast casserole recipe so they can help me make it and they can carry it on. As they get older and have families, maybe the breakfast casserole will still be happening in the Shepherd family for decades to come. But
tell me real quick, what is your breakfast casserole?
It's the bread base.
Yes.
And then egg, sausage. Well, you brown the sausage. So you put the bread on the bottom, brown the sausage, put it on top, cheese, then you mix milk and eggs and pour it over. And it just makes that, breakfast casserole. It's very simple, very basic, and a buttered dish.
I think it's similar to ours, except instead of bread, we use croutons.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. I've recently been exploring with different kinds of bread, and I know you mentioned in the Trader Joe's part last time about using their seasonal sourdough bread as a base for like French toast or a French toast casserole. So I think that would be kind of neat to kind of explore different, like I don't usually use sourdough. Ours is just basic white bread, but I think sourdough in this casserole would be perfect.
It would. It would really be good. Okay, so what was you're getting ready to segue into something new.
Oh yeah, my new tradition. And this is something that I've been doing for a couple of years with my friend group. We have Sunday supper. And we don't do it every Sunday, but we do it fairly regularly and try to at least once a month. And I would love to continue that and expand it and bring in more friends and let it just be like this tradition, kind of come as you are, Sunday supper, bring kind of almost potluck where we just gather once or twice a month and
Hmm.
hang out with nothing really special to celebrate except for being together. So,
I just
um,
love that.
so we do that. We do it from time. It's been few and far between lately because life has just been busy, but we're trying to for the fall like get back in the routine of it because this is the time of year where we can. So,
Yeah, I love that.
what about you? What
Um,
tradition do you want to pass down?
well, very similar to yours is that there was one year that I think, I think a lot of people's traditions are revolve around food.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was one year that I think I was just really overwhelmed with, I don't know if my parents were still alive or not, but I know I was really busy with work. And for whatever reason, full stop, I just did not want to cook for
Mm,
Thanksgiving, which is not like me. I
right.
normally don't mind it. But for that, whatever was going on, which makes me think that maybe I was grieving and I just really
Mm-hmm.
didn't have my heart in it. So we went and bought all our stuff at Central Market.
Mm,
And Phoebe was very kind about it, but she was also not very happy about it because her tradition is like what mine was, hearing my mom in the kitchen chopping and cooking and the smells
mm-hmm.
and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade
Yeah.
and knowing the anticipation of all that food is going to be served on the table. And the food was great,
Mm-hmm.
but she said, next year I'll help more, but could we not order food out? So
Yeah.
I think that's, and she associates Christmas morning
Mm-hmm.
with our egg casserole and our French toast casserole,
Yeah.
and that, that's just part of what the holiday looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And now she is actually has taken on the responsibility of making those casseroles the night before on Christmas Eve and putting them in the refrigerator as a way to help me. And so that's kind of helped relieve me
Mm-hmm.
from having, I just because we always host Christmas Eve at my house.
Okay.
And then after everybody leaves, then I've got to turn around now and switch
Prep.
over for
Mm.
handle for breakfast. So it's been nice to have her in the mix helping me with that.
I can relate to that about that Thanksgiving that you mentioned that you just, for whatever reason. So my mom died November 2nd. And
Oh,
so we just cracker barreled, catered Thanksgiving that year. And it wasn't the same, obviously, because there were so many things different about it, but it was such a relief to take that pressure off. Not only me, but my aunts and uncles and, everybody. We just we still had it at my grandparents' house like we would have had she been there, had my grandmother been there, but it was not us having to cook. And it was a different my nephew was a brand new baby, so it was just different, but it kind of changed the tone where we felt a little less it was still the traditional food. It wasn't our version of it. But it was a lot less pressure. So, sometimes traditions have to bob and weave a little bit with
that is
seasons
that is
in
so
life.
true. And I think sometimes in life we have to give ourselves grace
Yeah.
and really stand up for what we feel is best for us. And so I'm glad that even though Phoebe kind of protested a little bit, I said, no, this is what we're doing this year, and I really need for you to be supportive because I don't have it in me to cook this year.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us to extend ourselves and others that
Mm-hmm.
grace.
Yeah.
That if you see somebody struggling because the tradition is going to be a little different, and it doesn't have to always be death, it could be
Right.
a core part of the family moved away. Like my sister
Mm-hmm.
doesn't come for Thanksgiving anymore. She hasn't for years. They always come at Christmas because she lives in Santa Fe.
Mm-hmm.
And so Thanksgiving is just something that I host, and her children will come to my house. So I'm kind of like their surrogate parents. But sometimes people divorce, and
Mm-hmm.
you've got two families you've got to celebrate. So I think you just
Yeah.
have to, like you said, bob and weave and do the best you can and give
Mm-hmm.
yourself grace and just start new ones.
Yeah.
So
I
what was
agree.
something new after your mom passed away? Did you start a new tradition?
Well, it looks a little bit different, and I think it's more because just my family has changed. My brother's married, and my sister-in-law's family doesn't live nearby, so sometimes they're out of town. And one of the things that's kind of been different is when they are out of town, and I'm always welcome to go with them to her family's house. They've always invited me, but sometimes I just feel like I want to stick around home as a homebody and I'm actually off work. And so that's when Anna and I have done our little misfit Thanksgivings. I think I mentioned that where we'll host friends in our area who don't have a place to go because she also, she's an only child and has lost her parents. And so we kind of started that as our plan when we don't have a family occasion to attend, we'll host it for other people who are in the same boat. But it changes from year to year, and I really don't even know what this Thanksgiving will look like yet. If I will be, with my family in the town I grew up in, with my brother and his family, or if Anna and I will do something like that. So you know, it's a different. Things do have to change, and you just have to adjust and make it joyful for yourself if you're,
Right.
is what I would say.
I know one year, I think my parents went to visit my sister. This was within the first couple of years of them living with us when they were
Hmm.
still physically able to travel. They went to visit um my sister in, or no, she still lived here. I think my sister took them to New Mexico and the
Mm,
four of them celebrated Thanksgiving there. I think maybe my niece and her husband weren't didn't have their kids yet, and maybe they went away. They weren't here. So it
yeah.
was just me, Doug, and Phoebe.
Hmm.
And I said, I'm not cooking Thanksgiving for just three people. Let's do
Hmm.
something really different and fun and out of the box. So we had Chinese food.
Oh.
We went in our sweats and we had Chinese, and the Chinese restaurant was playing Chinese Christmas carols on the radio.
That's
And
great.
it was weird. It was fun. It was just, we went home and we took naps. I didn't have to clean. I didn't miss it. Because
Mm,
I think we had a Luby's that was near us, and Luby's always has Thanksgiving food. So I think maybe we went and ate Thanksgiving food like the day before or something. So we had our Thanksgiving food fix, but
mm-hmm.
it was so much fun to be eating chop suey and egg rolls on Thanksgiving. It was
Yeah.
just something fun and unexpected.
Yep. Make it
Okay, so let me
fun.
ask you these questions. Do you think
Okay.
traditions always have to be old, or can we start new ones in our season of life?
And I think we just talked a lot about that. Like you do just kind of have to adjust, and because life is, you know, I would say I'm single and I don't have children, and so my traditions are now having to look a little bit different when I can't be with my brother's family because of whatever reason or another, where there is, a small child or young children around. And so I think definitely new, like my Sunday supper tradition is definitely a new one, and it's something that my group of friends and I love to do when we can. So yeah, you can make new ones. You can choose to stay home and eat popcorn for Thanksgiving if that's what's going to be
Mhm.
right for you. You got to just kind of measure your own capacity and
Yeah.
bandwidth. Hmm.
Is there anything that you've let go of intentionally because it no longer serves you?
Black Friday shopping, does that count? I used to go with my mom and my grandma when she was alive because it was just something fun that we would do, not necessarily that I was buying a bunch of things. But yeah, I don't do Black Friday shopping anymore as a tradition at all. Like I might buy some things online, but I don't do it like I used
Well,
to.
and I think that, you've got Amazon Prime deals that were so close, and a lot of Black Friday starts before Thanksgiving even.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
remember one year I did, I, my husband really wanted this leather coat or leather jacket from Kohl's. So the day after Thanksgiving, I set my alarm, and I think, every year that gets earlier and earlier. And now some clothes stores don't even close. But I think at this particular year, Kohl's was opening at 5, maybe. Let's say that.
Mhm.
So I go and I get in line a little bit before 5, and I'm standing there and I'm looking at everybody, a little judgy. I'm thinking,
What are you
ugh.
here for?
Yeah. What are you here for? Are you here to get what I want? But
Uh-huh.
maybe more judgy, like that they look like they had just gotten out of bed, which they
Mhm.
had.
Mhm.
Some people hadn't brushed their hair, or they had on their sweatshirts inside out. And, I'm thinking, man, for 5 in the morning, I think I look pretty good. So they opened the doors. I went right to his coat. got it, and literally was home within like 20, 30 minutes. And before I went to bed, I went into the bathroom and I guess I had gotten dressed and not looked at myself in the mirror. Well, I had forgotten to brush my hair. And it was, like when you wake up and your hair, especially because I don't know for the time, but now I wear an eye mask when I go to bed
Uh-huh.
to block out the sun. And so
Uh-huh.
I'll wake up and my hair is like that. And I forgot to brush my hair. And I'm like, well, that's what you get for judging other people because I look like everybody else. And I'm sure they were
That's so
thinking,
funny.
what happened to that lady? What is wrong with
So
her?
funny.
So, anyway,
Yeah. Um, Speaking along the lines of traditions, like we used to do things like go out on Christmas Eve, my mom and grandma, and that's something that I don't do anymore. But I think about my little niece, like when she gets a little older and she wants to go shop, I would love to do that with her. Like, and I'm done with my Christmas shopping by Christmas Eve. And our point was always to go eat something good and just watch all the people last minute running around. And it was such good people watching. I just miss the mall days though. We don't have that like we used to anymore. But I think I want to say that mall culture is starting to creep back in. Like people are wanting that mall vibe again. But that's a little tradition that feels different now to do, but would love to continue if my niece was up for it.
yeah,
And
or maybe have her come and spend the night when she gets
yeah.
older and y'all could go
Yeah.
shopping or go look at Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Because that's something new we have started with my little 10-year-old niece and her brothers who are
Mhm.
twins and they're 6. Is that we last year we put them in my husband's vintage Willis Jeep in the back seat and we put blankets on them and then we drove around and looked at Christmas lights.
That's so fun.
And it was cold and they had on their Christmas pajamas that I give them every
Yeah.
year and they just squealed anytime we'd go around the corner and they kind of like, rolled over to the side.
Yeah.
But that is something I would love to do. Now I don't know that we'll always put them in the Jeep
Agreed.
because if it's cold, too cold.
Yeah.
But we could pile them in the van and have hot
So you've
cocoa.
only done it once, but would like to make it a tradition.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I have a
Yeah.
Christmas reel last year of them in the back of the Jeep and me videoing them driving off waving. And
Yeah.
it's just so cute. It's so cute. But that
Yeah.
would
So yeah.
that would be something new I would want to try to do every year with them because eventually they're going to get to be older and they're not going to care about
Uh-huh.
wanting to come over to their aunt and uncle's house.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of one of my questions, like something that you've done once that you might want to become a tradition. And that sounds right up my alley for something like that to
Yeah.
do
I could
with
totally see you doing
little
that
ones.
with your little kiddos.
Yeah, my neighborhood is a golf cart neighborhood. I don't have one yet, but I would love to get a golf cart and be able to have them
Ugh.
over and we ride around, look at Christmas lights. But
Oh, that would be so
maybe I'll ask for a golf
fun.
cart for Christmas from Santa.
Or decorate it for like July 4th, if
Uh-huh.
there's a
Uh-huh.
parade. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Fun.
when my sister and her husband used to live in Ruidoso, New Mexico,
Hmm.
they lived there for many years, but they left because for 2 seasons they had to evacuate due to the fires. And the
Yeah.
past time they evacuated, like their house was dangerously close to being
Oh gosh.
demolished from fire. Super scary, like driving off and all you hear is the sound of fire in the
Oh gosh.
distance and
Mm.
the smoke. And anyway, they used to decorate their golf cart up for the July 4th. And when the kids all come for their birthdays to celebrate, they would decorate it and go on the parade. And so that's something that they always enjoyed doing. But now they don't live on the golf course in Santa Fe, so they sold their golf cart.
Mm. So here's a question for us to talk about. If someone listening doesn't have family traditions or many family traditions, how can they begin creating traditions of their own and start them? What advice do you have?
Maybe I would ask what is, because for some of us, we may not think of it as a tradition.
Right.
Like I know because Phoebe's told me that the breakfast casserole is a Christmas morning tradition.
Hmm.
I just always did it because that's just what we've always done, but not that it's a tradition, but it's just really easy to make it the night before and it tastes good.
Yeah.
But I think you have to ask people,
Hmm.
what are things that we've done that you would like to see continued? Or in my case, if you get to be a certain age, our listeners get into their 60s and 70s, and maybe it's a little harder for them to organize those traditions. I've always said one of the best ways you can pass on a tradition is to invite one of your nieces, granddaughters, daughters-in-law, whatever, someone special
Mhm.
over, several weeks before the holiday, Thanksgiving or Christmas. I'm going to teach you how to make the family dressing. And we're going to write it down and we're going to spend time together making this dressing. And now
Mhm.
I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah.
And from now on, you're going to be the one to make that dressing recipe.
Mhm. And I'll always be your help until I
Yes.
can't. But
And
yeah,
that is
I
how
love
you
that.
pass on traditions. Don't feel
Yeah.
like you have to hold on to everything and
Right.
have this resentment, this underlying resentment that you're doing it all because nobody else is helping. Have you asked them?
Mhm.
So that's how I would probably hand over traditions is let's bake it together, whether it's a pie, breakfast casserole.
Mhm.
I mean, the first time that I turned it over to Phoebe, I said, let's cook it together so you'll know how to do it, how it's supposed to look and the texture and the consistency. But now this is your job
Mhm.
and I can still enjoy it, but now I get to enjoy it by watching you do it.
Yeah.
So that would be my suggestion.
And, and I think too, you can make anything a tradition that is special to you and feels special to you, even if it's just a tradition you have for yourself, single girl here. So, my friendship Sunday suppers, we didn't start off thinking it would become a tradition, but we did it regularly enough. We're like, oh, well, let's do this pretty often. So we make sure we reconnect and spend time with each other each week. So, you just kind of take inventory of the things you do with friends and family that you can make special and, make a big deal out of it to become a tradition. But I think important, like we've talked about a little bit, is just like be flexible because life is ever changing, evolving, and it might hurt, but some traditions might have to be let go because things are different. And, but you can still honor them and remember them and tell people about them and carry them on in story to friends and family, but they may not be feasible to continue, in practicality. So,
Yeah, and I think I think we're planning an episode that's going to be geared toward how your holidays look different when your loved ones are not here.
mhm,
And you and I have both lost our moms. I've also lost my dad. I know your dad is still with you, but how do you navigate grief and changing what it used to look like? I know there was one I think my parents were still alive, but it was becoming obvious to me that they were not going to be with me forever. I mean, we always know there's the possibility, as you know, of our parents not being here, but
mhm,
I don't think you ever really think it's going to happen.
right.
And my parents were still with us, but their abilities to get around it was becoming more of a challenge. And I remember thinking, what am I going to feel like when my parents aren't here anymore, or Phoebe's, moved away, or she has her own family? I kind of, I got sad for a little bit and thought
Mhm,
how I yearned for the days when I was a kid
mhm,
and Christmas was so magical and there were
yeah,
so many people in the house.
mhm,
And, it's a sweet memory to have,
yeah.
but it's also kind of hard to think, I mean,
I have the same thought, same thought process a lot, you know, especially because, and I think I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in my toast, but I'm not where I thought I would be at 41 years old. When I was say 21, I definitely thought I would be married with a family. And so my expectations for what holidays look like have had to change and finding joy in them in a different way. And also, I didn't expect not to have my mom until I was, till she was 80 years old. She
yeah,
died at 57. So, you kind of, it's sad looking back and wishing those things, but then I just have to, that's part of the story keeping for me and decorating with heirlooms and doing the things that I can to carry on those traditions through, even if it's just through telling the stories of those traditions, because it brings me joy talking about it and trying to find new traditions that fill my cup, even though they're not the same traditions. So
yeah.
anyway,
Okay, so I would love for our listeners, after hearing
yes,
some, I thank you for being so vulnerable, Brittany, about sharing how you were feeling. And
You
If
too.
our listeners are kind of in this same boat with us, things look different or traditions that you want to carry on or you're struggling with or things that you do, even if we want to hear the happy stuff too.
Yeah.
Send us an email at the Sentimental Twist Podcast at gmail.com.
Yes. Love it.
Okay,
Please do.
so now we're going to move on to what are we talking about?
Oh, we're going to talk about sentimental decorating and meaningful spaces and just little things that we can do to, simple, inexpensive ways to upgrade our decor for the seasons.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about that last week in relation to hosting, but this is just, we'll talk about hosting a little bit too, but little things you can do at home to kind of bring the season in.
Yeah, so we've got under $10 or under 10 minutes, either
Yeah.
one. So I love to shop my yard,
Yes.
which
Me too.
is I've got a magnolia tree. I love magnolia branches. We don't have any blooms right now, but branches, if you just cut those
Mhm.
and put them in a vase of water,
Lovely.
even if you just put the branches on a table or on your mantle, they'll last for a
Mhm.
little bit.
Yeah.
But if you want to keep them, hydrated, you could put them in water. Those are a beautiful presentation.
Yes.
Um, Trader Joe's has pomegranates
Oh, yeah. Those are so
and
pretty.
pine cones, and
Mhm.
you may even have pine cones in your backyard. I don't know that you're going to have if anybody has a pomegranate tree in their backyard, I'm super jealous. But citrus, a great activity to do with your littles is to get whole cloves and
Mm.
have them put the citrus into the orange. And you could
Pomander.
just have a bowl of oranges or apples
Mhm.
or pine cones out, instant seasonal color.
Yep.
I love to use handwritten place cards.
Mm.
You can buy place cards online. I like to make mine. I have a digital store filled with them right now for Thanksgiving. One in particular is called I'm Grateful For.
Mhm.
It may either be free or like $2, but if you print them on your computer on heavy cardstock, then you can put those around the table and everybody can write their name on it
Mhm.
and what they're grateful for. One year I did a grateful tree. I picked some
Cute.
branches from my backyard and put it into a vase and with some ribbon, and everybody wrote on the card what they were grateful for, and then I tied them onto the branches, and that was our
Love it.
grateful tree for the year. So super
I love
easy
it.
things, and those can be tucked into a napkin, placed on right in front of your plate, folded in half, maybe even attached to a small gift that
Mhm.
maybe a jar of jelly that you made. We did a lot of canning this year, so those are going to be gifts for people for Christmas. Um,
Mm.
Trader Joe's does really cute little individual wrapped candies for the
Mhm.
holidays. So it doesn't have to be expensive. You don't even have to buy anything.
Right.
But just kind of sit and your yard has a wealth of
Mhm.
gifts that you can share.
Yeah.
Rosemary is a great one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spritz of
Um,
rosemary.
I definitely think bringing in natural elements like the branches and the magnolia leaves and things like that. I have found a product. It's called Wilt Stop.
Yeah.
Wilt Stop. And you can spray on your branches and it'll help them last a little bit longer as they dry. They'll look a little fresher.
Ooh. Okay, link
And so
that though, because I'm not sure what that is. I'm gonna look it up on Amazon.
yeah, Wilt Stop. I think I had to buy it online. I think they would carry it at Lowe's, but they didn't have it when I was looking for it. One year we hosted a Friendsgiving, Anna and I did, and she's beautiful floral arranging, and she made these beautiful centerpiece garlands with just everything from the roadside magnolia leaves, goldenrod that she clipped from the side of the road, and we used wilt stop on them. I took the goldenrod out and then I just put the whole thing because it was all evergreen and magnolias on my mantle for that Christmas, and I used wilt stop to keep it somewhat fresh. By about the week of Christmas, I took it down because it was looking a little rough, and I put up a faux garland. But the wilt stop makes it last and look fresher much longer. But I think, doing that with natural elements, bringing in, that's an easy way to decorate for the seasons and to bring seasonal interest to your tables. And, you talked about it like for the place cards. I think you can bring natural elements into the place settings, like tucking that rosemary or one thing I like is this is not I would buy them on Amazon, but those faux feathers, like pheasant feathers, I love tucking some of those in with my napkin rings and my napkin, and that brings a little natural
Yes.
element to the table. Let's see, pine cones, that's pretty fun. I've done it's been a long time since I've done it, but done the pine cones in the oven where you dry them out and with the seasoning, the cinnamon and clove. It's been so long I can't even tell you how to do it, but that's really fun. And then just have a basket
Oh,
on the table and it has the scent, but it's that pine cone seasonal look. So, um, other things for bringing in the seasons and switching out your home, like one of my favorite things is throw pillow covers. I love a good throw pillow cover, and I stole it. The chair behind me usually has like I think it's a plaid tweed that matches my settees in here that I had recovered, but I swapped it out for the fall and cooler season to this fluffy, fuzzy
I love a
leather,
good animal print. Yes.
and it instantly made the room feel cozier and more ready for the seasons because the texture and colors
Yes.
of
And that's a
the
really inexpensive thing to do.
yes, and I do that for my bed. I swap out some of my throw pillows on my bed to faux fur and velvet just to bring in something that's a little more warm and cozy and cuddly,
Yeah,
just
I
for
did that too.
winter.
Washed all my summer bedding and put it away and got out my navy blue velvet
Yep.
bedspread.
Switching out colors and textures is a great way. I think you can even do this with like the metal things you have in your home. Like maybe you have a vignette on a silver tray, switch it to brass or a woven tray that is a little more natural. I love brass candlesticks and gold mercury votive holders at this time of year because they're warmer and they give off that sort of an amber glow. It's a little different than a clear glass hurricane if you used a mercury glass hurricane, especially if it's gold. But you can do a little switches like that to bring in warmer tones, warmer textures, like the velvet, the animal print, furry, plush feeling, and then the golds and the browns and the
Yeah. In
navies
fact,
and the emerald greens.
when you were talking about bringing in, things from the yard, and it did as well, my fig tree is still not producing fruit, but the leaves are still good.
Oh yeah.
And I think if you can find really pretty leaves in your yard, those make great place card holders. Like a big fig leaf could be almost like a charger,
Oh
or you could use it to identify the things on your buffet,
yeah. Mhm.
or you could use it as,
Mhm.
a little trigger at, what are you thankful for, or what's your
Yeah.
favorite Thanksgiving food? I mean, and you get you a gold paint pen
Paint pan, that's what I was gonna say.
and go to
Mhm.
town. I mean, you could just make a whole activity for your people at the table on leaves. So
Yeah.
those are some
And,
great ideas.
I have one more,
Yeah.
about heirlooms. I'm always talking about mixing in the hand-me-downs and the heirlooms, and we did talk about this in week 1 a good bit, but bringing something heirloom, hand-me-down into each space, into the layers of your home, into your tables to add that sentiment, using dishware that has been handed down, the brass candlesticks that were your grandmother's on your table. I use my mom's blanket scarves. We talked about this a little bit about having a basket outside when you're entertaining outside for people to cozy up to in another episode. But I have all my mom's blanket scarves. She loved a good blanket scarf. So since they're big enough to be like small little blankets, I stack those in a basket and take them outside.
Oh,
And
that is really
yeah,
nice.
they're all like plaid and the great fall colors, very Ralph Lauren vibe. And so they to me add seasonal color and interest and warmth and texture. So
That's fun. And those could
it's
even be used as a table runner.
yeah, I've used one as a table runner before because we don't really have blanket scarf season here. And
Yeah.
so I use the ones that I have more for decor than I do to wear.
That's a great idea. A lot of times you can find those blanket scarves at Goodwill or
Mm-hmm.
thrift stores,
Yep.
and they're like $1.
Yep.
And just pile all those into a basket. That's a really great idea because sometimes you don't really need a blanket. You just
Right.
need a little something on your shoulders. Um, that's a great idea. I love that.
Reminds me, my grandmother, my dad's mom, she'd always say, I'm not cold. I just need a little something on my arms. And
That's
so
sweet.
we always say that now too. My
Yeah.
dad will say it, not even realizing he said it, and we'll say, "All right, Meemaw."
How does he like that being called Meemaw?
He laughs
He
because
thinks it's funny.
it's a
Okay.
funny memory. Yeah, because
That's
we always kind of made fun of her for saying that.
yeah.
But
Okay, so if we have any listeners who've heard our ideas, if there's something that maybe you've got some land and you like to scavenge for things, let us know. What are some ideas that you have, or maybe something we talked about that was inspiring? Send us an email at the Sentimental Twist Podcast at gmail.com. Like I said, my cat's decided to come back up on the table. Okay, so we're going to move on now to your favorite segment, the Porch Book Speed Round,
Yes.
where we fire off quick questions and even have even quicker answers to take a peek behind the screen door to see who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
I always ask Brittany the questions first, and then she asks me, what's your first sign of fall?
No surprise here, but peanut harvest.
Yeah, we
I'm a
talked at length at the previous episode about your boiled peanuts,
yes.
which I'm going to be
Peanut. It's
optimistic
just
about.
okay.
Do you carve pumpkins or paint them?
It kind of depends on if I'm around kids, but I've mostly painted them in the past because I don't want to have to deal with the guts. But now I use my cute terracotta jacks from Mud and Rust Pottery that I will share in my Bless It in just a little bit.
Okay, I'm anxious to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, scariest movie you've actually watched?
Yeah, we talked about this a tiny bit last episode in Porch Talk when we talked about favorite fall movies. I'm not a big scary movie gal. The one that I remember actually watching all the way through was I Know What You Did Last Summer, like the original one when I was in high
Oh,
school.
yeah. Wasn't Jennifer Love Hewitt in that one?
Yeah, I think so. I can't even remember. It was a bunch of really popular like teen stars at the
Yeah.
time. Freddie Prinze Jr. maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember, but yeah, that's probably the last. I'm not a scary. I don't. I don't love being scared. Like
Well, here's
I
the
don't go to
thing is
haunted
that
houses, things like
you
that.
you live alone, and to
Oh,
watch a
that's true.
scary movie, then all of a sudden when you go to bed, you hear every sound there is.
That's
And
true.
so I could get why you I remember there was a movie or there was a series called The Island maybe,
Mm,
and Phoebe and I watched it, and she was probably 5th, 6th grade. And I remember she and I would watch it, and we even had Doug, her dad, sleeping in the house with us, and we were so scared.
but yeah.
And
I
it
didn't
was,
even really read Goosebumps as a kid. Like
oh
I
yeah,
wasn't,
that can be scary. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Best Halloween, most memorable costume you remember wearing?
Okay. My favorite one when I was a kid, I think I was 4 or 5. I was a bumblebee, and it was just like the cutest costume ever. I think I have pictures. I'll have to show them to you, and if I can find them. But it was my favorite one, and because my nickname was always been Bee, like I'm Aunt Bee, and I don't know, bumblebees, I don't know. It just was my favorite. Um, and then a funny one as an adult is we have a buddy that his name is Bobby. Bob, he's a farmer, and we all the girls get dressed up as his sister wives as a joke. It was funny, but yeah.
That's funny. What's a tradition you look forward to when the first cold day of the season rolls in?
You know, we talk about soup all the time and how we love soup, and I'm a soup year-round girl mostly, but chili, that first pot of
Mm,
chili when it is cold is like the best,
yes.
you know?
Yes. Raise
And
it, praise it. Yep.
it's just it's my favorite thing. Like when I see that the temperature's dropping into the 60s, I'm making sure I have my chili ingredients, on hand.
Mm.
So
Do
that's my
you
favorite
make your
tradition.
chili from scratch, or do you use something like Wick Fowler's?
I make it from scratch,
Okay.
but it's not anything special, it's just ground beef. You season it really good. You use canned tomatoes, beans, all the things. One of my little tricks is I like to use a ranch seasoning packet in with the chili seasoning. I just feel like that makes it taste really good for some.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Huh. Okay.
but it's just simple.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, are you ready for your
Yes.
turn? All right. What's your first sign of fall?
Mine is early. It's
Mm,
when pumpkin spice lattes come out at
on your birthday.
Starbucks. We talked about
Mhm,
this, I think, on episode 1, that's
mhm,
when I have my first PSL for the season
mhm,
because my birthday's at the end of August, and that's usually when they launch their PSL. And I'm
mhm.
always the person who's way ahead of when you're supposed to be doing something. Like, okay, it's October, and I start doing PSLs at the end of August.
August. Mhm.
November 1st, every year, it does not matter if I'm in a coma or not, I start listening to Christmas music.
Really? Okay. I'm an
Yes.
early Christmas music
I'm in
person.
early because I love it. And
Me
people
too.
are like,
Classic.
yeah,
Classic Christmas music. Yeah.
people are like, It's not Christmas yet until after Thanksgiving." And I'm like, if they had Thanksgiving music, I would listen to that, but they don't.
You
So
know, I
don't
saw
steal my
um
joy.
yeah, I saw a meme today and it said the real holiday schedule is like October 1 through 27 is Christmas, and then 27 through 31 is Halloween, and then November 1 through 23rd is Christmas, and then 23rd through 28th is Thanksgiving, and then everything else is Christmas. But I don't
Yes.
do Christmas that early.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
usually,
either. I start decorating for Christmas usually like Thanksgiving weekend
yeah.
when I've got help. Usually
Mhm.
my littles will spend the night, Thanksgiving night, and
Mhm.
so I may have them help me decorate trees this year because 'cause they're a little older that they'll probably all still be central. The ornaments will all be central to one location, and then they'll get bored and leave, and I'll have to rearrange it, but anyway. Yeah, so
Mhm.
my first sign of fall is the pumpkin spice latte.
Nice latte. All right. Do you carve pumpkins or paint them?
I don't do either, I decoupage.
Oh, I love a decoupage pumpkin with napkins.
Yes. In
Ah,
fact, we Phoebe and I like to do craft Sundays where she'll come
mm,
over and she'll either color with her gorgeous markers or
mhm,
I'll watercolor. And so I think I'm gonna have her help me do some decoupage pumpkins this Sunday
amazing.
because I
Will
have
they have
some.
a theme?
No, well, I think they'll have certain color scheme. I have
Okay.
tons. I have probably over 100 cocktail
Tell
napkins
napkins.
that I
Mhm,
collect just for that purpose, thinking I'm
mhm,
going to use them for decor. And so I'm probably gonna do, like, maybe some pinks and, I don't do traditional
yeah,
fall colors. I like hot pink, orange,
mhm,
brown. I don't do orange and black. So,
mhm,
so stay tuned. I buy white pumpkins on Amazon that are
mhm,
plastic, and then I just always have them, and they're like about this size.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's I love that. I've not done that, but I always when I see it come across like a reel or something, I save it in my projects folder on Instagram, but
Yeah, and then I shellac them with spray shellac.
okay.
So they can go outside if they need to,
Okay.
if you wanted to put
Yeah.
them on the porch.
You should do a tutorial for us, okay?
Oh, I should.
Yeah. All right, next question. Scariest movie you've actually watched? I know you've got a lot.
Yeah, so we talked about this last episode. I love scary movies. It's like one of
Mhm,
my things. But and always kick off the season by watching Halloween, but that's not the scariest movie I've ever seen. The
mm,
scariest movie I've ever seen was called The Grudge. I think it might have had Jennifer Love Hewitt in it. It's based on a Japanese movie
mm.
that was made for America, and it's about a spirit that gets left behind and it inhabits people's bodies,
Nope, nope, mm-mm, nope.
and it it was so scary that even Mr. Twist was like, "I think we need to turn this off."
'Cause it feels supernatural, like, spiritual,
Well,
like
here is how we started it. Phoebe had a science fair project, which
mm,
I hate science fair projects. I wish they would outlaw them, pass a law to say
I kind of
par-
agree. Anything
parents
with a trifold board, we don't need to do it.
parents don't need to do sound. Notice I said parents, not students.
Right.
Um, it would put the trifold people out of business
Mhm.
because that's the only time you ever
Only reason it's
use.
used.
Yeah. So she did a science fair project, and I don't know if it's still around or not, but it was called sciencebuddy.org. And it was a
Mm,
site for parents
uh-huh.
to go and help their kids come up with a science fair topic. And
I think it still exists.
you could put in their interest level and their age and what level of degree of difficulty, and then it would give you all these great ideas. And it was
Mm,
free
mhm.
resource. So she decided she wanted to find out if watching a scary movie elevated your blood pressure.
Uh, that's good.
So we did a baseline blood pressure,
Mhm,
then we did it before the movie, and then every so often in the movie we would do it like every 10 or 15 minutes.
mhm.
This movie was getting so scary that our blood pressure was like thinking we were going to need to take medication.
Gosh.
And Phoebe started crying and said, "I don't want to watch the rest of this." And I'm like, "Honey, if you don't finish it, like we can't finish your project." So I think I made her watch it. I mean, it is so scary. It's called The Grudge. I'm gonna look it
Yeah.
up.
I'm not.
So
No.
that is the scariest movie. I think we all had nightmares. I don't know what it was. And maybe if we watched it again,
You probably think it was silly
I
at this
don't
point.
know, but it was just The
Mm.
Grudge. It's made in 2004. So would
Okay.
that mean my child was 4 and I made her watch this?
No, it's probably when she was like middle school age doing the science fair. Y'all
Maybe
chose that
so. Okay.
one.
So it's called The Grudge. It never forgives, it never forgets. Oh, it had Sarah Michelle Gellar in
Oh
it.
yeah. Okay. She was in I Know What You Did Last Summer too,
Yeah.
I think.
So let me see a
Or
synopsis.
Scream. One of those. They came out about the same time.
Overview. Matthew Williams and his wife Jennifer and mother Emma are Americans making a new life in Tokyo. Together they move into a house that has been the site of a supernatural occurrence in the past, and it isn't long before their new home begins terrorizing the Williams family as well. The house, as it turns out, is a site of a curse that lingers in a specific place and claims the lives of anyone that come near it. So I'm just telling you right now,
Mhm.
if you love scary movies and it's not blood and gory, it is hard core, like will scare you into having to wear Depends.
Creepy kind of
Yeah.
scary. Okay.
Okay.
All right. On that note, best Halloween costume or your most memorable one you remember wearing?
My mom was really not into Halloween when I was growing up. We
Mhm.
didn't really decorate much. I mean, we passed out candy. We lived on a pretty busy street for kids, but she didn't go all out for Halloween. So really any costumes that I wore were kind of just whatever I could find around the house.
Mhm.
And I know it's probably, I don't think it's appropriate to do it now, but back then we called them hobos.
Oh yeah.
So you'd kind of dress as somebody who lived on the railroad and you'd carry a
Mhm.
little stick with your little
Mhm.
pack on it. So
We've done that.
hobo, I dressed as
Mhm.
because my grandmother used to live with us, so I had like all the things, the walkers, the canes, the wigs, the house coats, the handbags. I would go
Mhm.
as an old lady. I don't think I never dressed as a princess or because we just would
Yeah.
pile in the back of my best friend Julie's dad's pickup and he would just drive us around. So it needed to be something that was pretty easy to hop in and out of a pickup. And if you had like
Yep.
a big princess costume on, that wasn't gonna.
Right.
So I don't
Mm.
think I did anything memorable. I think it was just now I do have one as an adult that's really funny.
Mhm.
We went to a Sunday school party and Doug's coworker said, "Hey, my husband and I went to a costume party and we're not going to use it. If you and Melissa want to borrow it, it's Dog the Bounty Hunter in his wife Beth's costume." So, Dog the Bounty Hunter was a big mullet wig with a feather
Did he
coming out
die?
of it.
Uh-huh.
You know what? Someone else said he died, but I don't think he did.
I don't know.
His wife died a few years ago, and then
Hmm.
it had a sleeve that looked like tattoos, handcuffs, and he would cut t-shirts off and made them into wife beaters,
Uh-huh.
and then he wore boots with jeans. Mine was a big blonde wig with a tat sleeve, and then it had those faucet covers that you put on faucets that are real hard to put underneath your shirt to make them look like big boobs because she was very well
Chest.
endowed. She
Mhm.
had large breastises and a t-shirt that said something on it about mountains or something. I don't remember. And I had fake nails and I wore real skinny tight jeans with high heels. And we drove up to the house, we got out, and the kids were all in the front yard tossing the football. And they stopped, not so necessarily for him, but I think him and the boobs on me, and they just were silent and just watched us walk in. And one of the little boys said, "I think she might be a supermodel." Needless to say, we won the best costume for that party because
That is so
it was
cute.
just we and Doug's beard, I think he had let it kind of grow out and he looked so scraggly and I looked like I don't know what. And I
That's
think
funny.
I went in with a cigarette or something. So anyway, that was probably the most
Hilarious.
memorable costume I wore as a grown up.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Okay, last question.
Okay.
What's a tradition you look forward to when the first cold day of the season rolls in?
Okay, I put my fireplace on
Mm-hmm.
and I make pancakes for dinner.
Oh, I love that. Breakfast for dinner is the best.
Oh, it is. And I think I remember when it was cold when I was little and my mom would make us breakfast. So I think
Mhm.
that's a carryover of me being a kid.
Yeah.
Just making pancakes and bacon and having my pajamas on and we sit in front of the fire with a good movie and just enjoy breakfast for dinner.
Love it. So
Okay.
fun. Okay, time for Blessed. We had to share it.
Yay, and you get to go first.
Oh yeah, so this is where we share about all the things that we are loving right now, and I reference these things in my porch talk, but I am, I don't do a ton of Halloween decorating. My porch, has a little bit of a Halloween theme, and I have a few things inside. And one of those things are my Mollie Jenkins pottery. So both of mine have to do with pottery. I have two Halloween, but Mollie Jenkins ghosts. Okay,
Oh, those
so
are so
describe
cute.
them. They're very cute little pottery ceramic ghosts. You can put a votive in
Oh,
them, and they're adorable. MollieJenkinsPottery.com. And she does a release, like a launch every year, and they typically do sell out. So they're super cute. She's a Georgia. Both of mine are Georgia pottery artists, potters.
you think she's on Instagram?
I know she is. Mollie Jenkins Pottery, Mollie with an IE. And so I just have two of them, but some people have tons and they put them all over their house and they're so cute. But I just do a little vignette with my Mollie Jenkins ghosts. And then while you're looking those up, I'm going to pull out my
Look at
terracotta
here's one
jack-o'-lantern.
here with her dog.
That's so cute. And so these are just like the medium and small, but she has some giant ones and some
She
large ones
does. Oh,
as
they're
well.
so cute.
But she has great pottery, and I think she's around Columbus, Georgia area. And then this is an example of a terracotta jack-o'-lantern. So if you go on my Instagram, I've probably posted them by the time this episode airs. But I get these little Amazon battery remote control puck lights that have an
Yes.
orange glow, and I have them on my porch. So I have the large, medium, and small. This is the medium.
Love that.
And so I
And
have some for the front porch and some that I put on my back patio.
you can turn them around too after Thanksgiving.
Afterwards, and then they're
Yeah.
just pumpkins, kind
Yeah.
of.
Because
But
it,
I love them. I think they're so cute. It's mudandrust.com is the artist there. The pottery studio is Craven Pottery, and they're out of Gillsville, Georgia.
okay.
So I didn't intend for it, but they're both Georgians like me. So that's my bless that we had to share it. If you want some Halloween decor that's cute and not scary, Mollie Jenkins Pottery Ghosts and Mud and Rust Terracotta
I love
Jack-o'-lanterns.
that. And that's something that lasts every year and you don't
Yeah.
have to worry about it getting ruined or
Hmm.
like it never gets cool enough here for me to put real pumpkin for me to
Yeah.
spend the money unless I might buy like 4 pumpkins from Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
But I want so desperately to like do one of those huge pumpkin displays on my porch with, all the things. I just
Hmm.
can't justify the money because they just rot. And to me, that's just such a huge waste. But,
Yeah.
if that's something that you love to do and you've got a big compost and you've got farm animals that'll eat all your rotten stuff, then go to
Yeah.
town.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
My blessed and had to share is, we both, you and I are both candle girls.
Yes.
So I decided I've been seeing this a lot on Instagram is the Happy Wax Company.
Okay.
They make the candle warmers.
Hmm.
So I did their subscription
Oh, yeah.
and you get to pick out the style warmer that you want. And the
Okay.
warmer has a plastic, I don't know what the actual property of it, plastic, but it has a thing that sits on the problem with wax melts is you've got to dig them out of the
Hmm.
ceramic. Well, this is a silicone, that's the word.
Oh,
Silicone
yeah.
insert. So all you do is you pop it out and then when you wait till it's cool
Settled, set.
and it
Uh-huh.
pops out as a disc.
Brilliant.
So you can put the disc either back in your container to store
Hmm.
it for when you want to use it again or throw it away or whatever you want to do.
Sure.
So I bought the wax melt, and then you get to pick however many you want, depending on what size of, purchase.
Hmm.
And why did I not bring them all up here? I did um calming lavender.
Oh, yum.
Oh, vanilla bean. This is the one I started with, and I've got
Oh,
it
yum.
going downstairs. I could smell it all the way upstairs.
That's
And it's
amazing.
on a timer. So you can
Smart.
press it for 3, 6, or 9 hours, and then it automatically shuts off. And
That's
they're
awesome.
little tiny bears.
Shoot.
And this one is vanilla bean latte. And then I
Hmm.
did lemon verbena,
I love that. Great
pumpkin
kitchen
dulce,
table.
which is
Okay, there you
pumpkin,
go.
and then a mystery melt. I think if you order 4 bags, you get a free bag or something. So the
Mhm.
mystery melt. Well, you scan it with a QR code to find out what the scent
Or
is.
fragrance.
And this is
Yeah.
apple cider.
For
And
fall.
every month you can change what you want. So
Hmm.
when it comes in December, and I did it for every other month.
Yeah, that's what I
Every,
would do
every
probably
month.
too.
And so my scents that are going to come for Christmas are going to be things like peppermint, sugar cookie, Christmas tree, things that all smell Christmassy.
Hmm.
And so I just love for the house to smell pretty and inviting, but
Same.
sometimes candles can be expensive.
And a
And
little
then
scary.
and then when you burn it out, that's the end of it. So I kind
Oh,
of like the whole wax melt idea because it kind of lengthens the life of your candle. So
yeah.
that's called Happy Wax. And it's
Okay. Good
all
deal. We'll link it.
natural. It's soy wax infused with essential oils, no parabens, no paraffin, and no penthalates,
Hmm. Whatever that
phthalates, and super concentrated. So I only put two in and my wax warmer's a big one. I didn't, they have them for small spaces, big spaces, wall unit. I put
is.
two in last night and Mr. Twist was like, "Are you baking cookies? It smells so good in here." So
That's awesome.
yeah,
I'll put that link in the show notes so y'all
yep,
can check it out.
yep.
Okay, it's time to close the show with a toast to sentiment. And this is where we share a quote or story or poem to end this episode on a sentimental note and raise a glass. And it's my week to share. And we talked a lot about traditions this episode. And so I wanted to add some encouragement for those of you who might be in a season like me, single or in a time of change and transition or loss, because traditions can be grounding, can be healing, but they're also deeply personal and they don't have to look like they used to in order to matter to you. And that's what I've had to learn as I've gotten older, as I've experienced things in life and life has changed and maybe has ended up being unexpectedly different than I, anticipated. And in a good way, I believe, in a lot of things, and in a sad way, in some by the loss of my mom. But, all my family traditions look different without my mom here. And the traditions I had as a child look different as now a 41-year-old single woman without children of my own. And that's okay. Like I've learned that that's okay. And it's sad sometimes, like we were talking about earlier, to look back and because you can miss those things and you can grieve for things you've never had, I believe, but sometimes keeping a tradition looks a little different. It might mean lighting the same candle that your mom had or baking her recipes for yourself just for you, and sometimes it means starting something new, entirely new, like Sunday supper with my friends, or a quiet morning ritual just for yourself, or setting the table for you and for your loved ones, or just you and friends with your favorite dishes. So, whatever it looks like, the heart of traditions to me is not about perfection. We talk about that a lot, or performance. It's basically connection. And when you have a tradition, whether that's a tradition you're keeping with yourself, you're connecting to yourself, but traditions that you share with others connect you with those others. And so, a toast today is to the people who have shaped us and who have guided us and who we are and who we are becoming, and to the life that we're building. It may look different than you expected, but here's to honoring what was and embracing what is and gently making space for what's next. And I feel that as I've just turned 41, life is different than I thought it would be, but that doesn't mean it's any less memorable or valuable or worth celebrating. So, a little toast to sentiment and to all about finding beauty in the in between.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And aren't we blessed that we found each other?
Mm, amen to that. Yes, absolutely.
Every time I meet with you to have a podcast, I just feel like I'm sitting down with an old friend.
I
And I
know.
hope that our listeners feel the same way when they
I do
listen to
too.
us. And that's something that we said, it's kind
Mm,
of like going to church
yeah.
and you hear the preacher, do their sermon, and you're like, how did they know
How do they know?
that I was struggling with that today?
Yeah. I
So
hope we
that's what,
can be
yeah,
affirming.
Yeah.
that way.
So thank you for that. And thank you for being vulnerable about how it can be. Life is never predictable,
Right.
but, we've gotten this far.
Mm-hmm.
And I know your mom would be so proud of how hard you work and the home you've built for yourself and the life that you've created. And it's just going to only get better. I mean, look, you've got 20 more years and you'll be my age. No telling. You'll be running some multi-billion-dollar home sentiment decor
Who knows?
empire. You'll be like Martha Stewart, and I'll be in 20 years, I'll be 80.
No.
Is that right? Yeah,
Yeah, but no. But no. You'll be still 60 in your mind
in
and
my
heart.
mind, hopefully. Not in my
And
body.
no, I think probably in your body too, because you take care of yourself.
Yeah,
So,
I try
mm,
to.
yeah.
Okay, so we're going to close the show. That's all for today's episode of the Sentimental Twist. We want to encourage everybody to leave a review, share our podcast with a friend that you think would love to feel like that they're sitting down talking to old friends. Um, Give us a good rating, and you can find me at Home with a Twist on Instagram, homewithatwist.com on my website, and Home with a Twist on YouTube.
Yes. And I'm at Brittany Shepherd on Instagram, sentimentaldecorator.com, Brittany Shepherd TSD on YouTube. And together we are the Sentimental Twist podcast on Instagram.
Yes,
So, and
give
you
us
can email us at the Sentimental Twist podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, and be sure to follow us over on our Instagram for the Sentimental
Yes.
Twist. We're trying to grow that account and get more
Yeah,
people to follow us. So
exactly.
thank you so much for joining us on the Sentimental Twist.
Where we believe every space tells a story.
And every story deserves a place at the table. Until next time, everyone.
Keep things cozy, collected, and a little bit sentimental.
Bye.
Bye, y'all. Next week.